911. What's the location of the emergency?
Sandy Hook School. I think there's somebody shooting in here. Sandy Hook School.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Because somebody's got a gun. I saw a glimpse of somebody. They're running down the hallway.
Okay.
They're still running. They're still shooting.
There's still shooting going on. Please.
All right, what about injuries at this time?
Excuse me?
What about injuries at this time?
I don't know of any injuries right now.
Okay, where are you in the school right now?
I am in the school. I'm in the classroom.
Okay, do you have everyone in the classroom and the doors?
All of my students. The door is not locked yet. I have to go.
Okay,
I have to go
lock the door. Tell me, keep everybody calm, keep everybody down, get everybody away from the windows, okay?
On December 14, 2012, in Newtown, Connecticut, 20-year-old Adam Lanza took a .22 caliber bolt-action rifle and shot his mother, Nancy Lanza, 4 times in the head as she lay in bed. He then drove to Sandy Hook Elementary School in her car, and using her Bushmaster rifle, shot his way through the glass panel next to the locked entrance, and gained entrance to the school. He then proceeded to shoot at staff who confronted him, wounding 1 and killing 2 others. Adam then entered the school's main office, but did not see the people hiding there. Next, he forced his way into a first grade classroom as the teachers were trying to hide the children in the bathroom. Adam opened fire and killed both teachers and 14 of their students. A 15th student was taken to hospital but died later. A 6-year-old girl who hid in one of the corners of the classroom bathroom during the shootings was the only survivor. Adam then moved to another first grade classroom and shot another school teacher and 4 of her pupils. A 5th was taken to hospital but pronounced dead. 6 children survived by running out of this classroom and taking refuge at a nearby home. At 9:45, only 5 minutes after entering the school, Adam turned the gun on himself. Before the bodies were even cold, some online were concocting elaborate conspiracy theories about how the whole thing was orchestrated by the US government, and then this was all some part of some elaborate plan to promote stricter gun control laws. Some went as far as to say that no one actually died at Sandy Hook, and that all the grieving parents they saw on TV were crisis actors.
She always had something kind to say about anybody. And her love and the strength that she gave us and the example that she showed to us is remarkable. She is an incredible person, and I'm so blessed to be her dad.
Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. I knew they had actors there, clearly, but I thought they killed some real kids. And it just shows how bold they are, that they clearly used actors.
The evidence for this massive conspiracy is so flimsy that I found it really difficult to pinpoint what I wanted to talk about in this video. I was worried that I was going to be accused of going after low-hanging fruit, but the truth is, it's all low-hanging fruit. Whilst researching for this video, I was astonished at the lengths some people go to in order to find evidence that justifies their belief in whatever particular flavour of conspiracy they believe in. For example, I watched a video where someone said the shooting never happened because Adam Lanza made his bed. And why would you make your bed if you never plan to sleep in it again? Honestly, this was something I watched. Looking past the fact that towards the end Adam's behaviour became more strange and sometimes he wouldn't even sleep in his bed, does this person really believe that they found the one bit of evidence that everyone else didn't see? Do they think they've unravelled this massive conspiracy? I mean, it's pathetic. This is the level we're dealing with, and it was something I wasn't expecting before I wasted hours of my life, no wait, scratch that, days of my life, reading blog post after blog post and watching conspiracy video after conspiracy video, because these things are never short. Some of these things are 2 to 3 hours long, and I watched a couple of them multiple times. And I found that the best evidence these people have of some kind of massive conspiracy is nothing more than conjecture, and at the worst, it's flat out lies. The laziness of these people is breathtaking, as they don't investigate any of the anomalies they find. Instead, they jump to the conclusion that it backs up their particular flavor of conspiracy theory, and that their own conspiracy theory is the only possible explanation of what happened that day. For example, let's look at some of the claims made by a woman called Sophia, a woman who, in my opinion, is a few lettuces short of allotment. She believes that no children died at Sandy Hook Elementary, and that evidence was fabricated to make it look like these children were actually the children of the grieving parents we saw on camera. Her evidence is a photo of the Parker family that she believes underwent some kind of Judge Dredd-esque photo manipulation, and that Emily Parker, the little girl on the far right who was killed in the massacre, was photoshopped in and therefore never existed. Unlike most nonsense spewed from Sandy Hook truthers, and yes, some of them want to be called truthers to the dismay of 9/11 truthers, there is a grain of truth to this one. The picture has been edited to make a nice picture for a Christmas card. Basically, they tried to get a nice picture of the family all looking at the camera whilst it was still light, but failed to get a decent picture. So when they got home, the mother photoshopped two images together. No elaborate Judge Dredd-esque photo manipulation. It wasn't meant to fool anyone. It was just meant to be a Christmas card picture. The mother of Emily Parker even admits this on her website after finding out that this picture was a cornerstone of the conspiracy movement. But this didn't stop the conspiracy theorists. Some simply ignored her and continued to publish this bullshit online, whilst others showed that no matter what evidence you give these people, they will still spin it to fit their own delusional narrative. What I'm about to read you comes from a blog post titled "Mother Admits She Faked Emily Parker's Photo." But before I do, I want to remind you that this person who wrote this blog post is talking about parents who have lost a child when a young man who had mental health issues shot their 6-year-old daughter less than 2 years before this was published. You would think that Robbie I Can't Stop Laughing Parker, oh f*** you. This is in reference to a CNN press conference the day after his daughter was killed, where people have accused Robbie of not grieving hard enough.
Okay. So my name's Robbie Parker. My family is one of the families that lost a child yesterday in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shootings here in Connecticut.
Early on, I said, well, they had to have killed somebody. I mean, this doesn't make sense. Then parents come out and start laughing and then turn to the camera and cry. I mean, this stinks to high heaven.
People are not the one-dimensional characters you see on TV and in movies. They mourn in different ways, and even in times of great sadness are capable of expressing other emotions, even if it's just to mask the sadness they're feeling inside.
And then you've got parents laughing, going, ha, 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 and then they walk over to the camera and go,
F*** you. Okay, so let's start this again. You would think that Robbie I Can't Stop Laughing Parker and his evil, scowl-faced wife, these people lost their daughter less than 2 years ago. What the f***? Alyssa will be so ashamed after being exposed as rotten liars that they would crawl under a rock and never be seen again. But unfortunately, they are still chasing dollars from the few suckers left who don't realize what monstrous scam artists they are. I can't imagine there's anyone left who doesn't realize that Emily Parker doesn't exist, and certainly wasn't killed at Sandy Hook Elementary. This, by the way, is not the only example of Sandy Hook conspiracists being horrific to the victim's family. Sandy Hook truther caught in Virginia with signs stolen from playgrounds built for Newtown victims. Florida professor taunts Sandy Hook parents and accuses them of faking kids' massacre for money. Brooklyn man yelled that Newtown massacre never happened to the family of slain Sandy Hook elementary teacher Victoria Soto. Oh, and my personal favourite, Sandy Hook conspiracy theorist gets prison time for threatening victim's family. Yep, you heard that correctly. A father who lost his 6-year-old son was sent messages from a person saying such things as, "You're going to die, death is coming for you real soon, and look behind you, it's death." This is why Sandy Hook truthers have a reputation of being vile beyond description, and their little conspiracy attracts the worst kind of people. Which nicely brings up the most popular Sandy Hook conspiracy theorist, radio show host Alex Jones.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap. What do I do, Lord?
Destroy the child.
What is Hitler? What is Stalin? What is Mao? What is all this stuff? What is Venezuela? These people are not frickin' humans, okay? Hillary Clinton is a goddamn demon. Every day when I leave work, I do this. Have the Pepsi taste testing systems be based on fetal tissue. All demonic systems genetically engineer all the crops. Overthrow creation. More blood. That's Hillary.
Now, the reason why I brought up Alex Jones is because he was kind enough to make a 29-minute concise video. And yes, that is concise when it comes to Sandy Hook conspiracy videos. In this video, Alex and some nobody called Wolfgang put forward the most compelling evidence they have that Sandy Hook was an elaborate hoax. Basically, it boils down to the FBI reported 0 deaths in Newtown. This is where the massacre took place in 2012.
Well, according to FBI crime statistics at FBI.gov, no one died in 2012 in Sandy Hook. It shows no homicides in that town.
The guys point to an FBI report, Crime in the United States 2012, which clearly shows indeed no one died. But before we go any further, let's actually try and understand what Alex and his little friend are actually saying, what they're actually implying. They are saying that the whole thing was staged for the world to see, that everything we are seeing is an act, and like Sophia, they believe that no one actually died at Sandy Hook.
You're really sure, though, nobody died? It was a total cutout.
I'm telling you, nobody died.
They actually take this a step further and say that not only was the whole thing staged, but it was staged in a school that had been condemned and empty for years. To believe this, you have to ignore, well, reality. The school had never been closed, and there are pictures and pictures and pictures to prove it. I mean, how many people would they have to pay off to get this elaborate conspiracy theory to work? I mean, the claim is so astonishingly incorrect, I'm struggling to find the words to counter it. Do they really believe that these people went to the detail of doing stuff like, I don't know, making sure the magazines at the front were up to date? That all the dates and times in the school were all correct? That, I don't know, the lunch menu saying that it was pizza day that was actually correct, and when you go into the actual canteen you can actually see that the staff were making pizzas? They went to that level of detail, but what? They gave it to the intern to sort out the crime statistics and the whole thing just falls apart. It's ridiculous, and it's not the only thing. Some people believe that... Okay, get this. This is kind of strange. They believe that they were drilling holes into the glass the wrong way the day the massacre took place. We're dealing with really stupid people here. Anyway, let's get back onto the FBI report. Where does it get its information from? Well, it turns out it's based on the Uniform Crime Reports, created by various state law enforcements and other bodies. And on the 4th page, it says this. This publication is dedicated to the memory of the 20 children and 6 school administrators who were killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut on December 14, 2012, and in honor of all the first responders who attended this tragedy. Yeah, because this is the evidence that they're using. They're not even going one level down to know where it's coming from. This is how lazy these people are. So when you get to the page where this website Alex Jones is quoting pulls its data from, you see that it does indeed say that no one was murdered in Newtown in 2012. However, you see there's a little 3 just next to that. Well, you look down and it says, does not include the 27 victims of Newtown's mass shootings. See State Police MISC. The report quite specifically notes the 27 victims, 26 at the school plus Adam Lanza's mother, but excludes them from the statistics from Newtown. Instead, they're included in State Police MISC. This is because the crimes at the school fell under the jurisdiction of the state police and not the local police. There you have it. Nothing here. Absolutely nothing. Would take nothing to find this out. It's just lazy. Next, Alex says that the kids were walking in circles.
Why would they have kids going in and coming out clearly staged?
Here he is referring to a short clip taken from a helicopter that looks kind of like people are coming out the back of the fire station and going into the front. Now, you've probably seen this video everywhere. It's only a few seconds long, but people like to loop it to make it look like it's going on forever when it really wasn't.
One small thing to cling to. You got me going in circles. Oh, round and round I go.
What really happened was the children from the school were evacuated to the firehouse in waves. Now originally they were at the back of the firehouse, but it was too crowded, it was a bit too busy, there's too much going on, so they decided to move the children to the front of the firehouse. So the children went through the firehouse to get to the front, whereas the parents went round the side, and that's what you're watching. Once again, let's step back and actually vocalize what these numpties are implying. They're saying that the people at the firehouse were all in on it and were told to walk in circles to make it look like more people were there than actually were? Did the organizer of this event watch Monty Python's The Meaning of Life the day before and thought he'd just have a laugh with it?
Look at them, bloody Catholics, filling the bloody world up with bloody people they can't afford to bloody feed.
What does this even mean, and how does it prove it was a conspiracy? How? How does it prove it was a conspiracy? Alex and his friend believe that CNN and a guy by the name of Anderson Cooper are part of the conspiracy. This is because whilst Anderson was interviewing the mother of one of the victims, his nose appears to disappear, and therefore green screen, and therefore somehow a conspiracy.
I knew it stunk. I mean, why would Anderson Cooper turn and be a green screen and his nose disappeared?
People have even shouted at him because of this.
Anybody have any questions before we take off?
Yes. I'm here on behalf of the Sandy Hook victims, and word came out that you pretended to be at a funeral and you were really in front of a green screen, blue screen. Is that true?
Completely ridiculous.
Because your nose disappeared.
Yeah.
Is that?
If you're one of the Sandy Hook truthers, I think it's pretty reprehensible.
No. I'm trying to get an honest answer. I'm here on behalf of the victims.
Well, I don't know who you're here on behalf of. I don't know.
Were you really at the funeral, or were you in front of a green screen?
Yeah, I was at the funeral. You think I lied about that sort of thing?
Well, it seemed like you were in front of a green screen. A lot of professionals think you were.
A lot of professionals. All right. I actually was at a funeral for Roman Grace McDonald, but most of you guys.
What about Noah Posner?
I didn't go to his funeral, but I've actually interviewed plenty of fellows.
Yeah, so you were in front of a green screen at the funeral with. I did.
What's really pathetic about what you guys are doing is, you're abusing these families.
Well,
and you're cutting down. These are families who are grieving the worst possible time of their life. And you're saying they're actors. You're saying they're.
I'm not a truther. You were in front of a green screen and you're a liar.
All right.
I came here for that.
You guys were a great audience. Thank you so much for being here.
This is nothing more than a compression artifact. To make a video smaller and easier to stream, interframing compression can be used, where a full picture of the video is used only once every so many frames. The space between these pictures is then manipulated to give the simulation of full motion. To do this, it has to detect which parts of the frame are changing and moving, and for some reason, whatever reason, the image of Anderson where his nose is hasn't detected that change, and therefore we don't see it. It looks like it's disappeared. When the video finally gets around to putting in another full image, his nose reappears. Now this is not consistent with green screen. Now the reason why his nose would be disappearing if it were a green screen is that he's moving out of frame. And if that were the case, his nose wouldn't come back. And before anyone says it's just a keying out error, unless his nose went blue or green, that's not going to happen. But once again, step back. I don't get this. How does this prove a conspiracy? If this was green screened and Anderson was placed on top of this video, and yes, Anderson would be the one placed on top, are we really saying that this woman was just talking to no one? I mean, what does this mean? Am I missing something? It's like these people find little things they can't explain or don't want to explain and then run with it and say it's conspiracy because, I don't know, reasons.
He's supposedly there at Sandy Hook in front of the memorial, and his whole forehead and nose blurs out. I've been working with blue screen, again, for 17 years. I know what it looks like. It's clearly blue screen. Clearly.
Another strange thing about this is Alex and other conspiracy theorists keep saying that this isn't the first time that CNN have been caught using fake footage.
This is one of the most amazing stories I've seen in years to take us behind the curtain of fake corporate news. CNN's famous in 1991 for saying they were hit with a Scud missile in Tel Aviv with nerve gas. They were in CNN Center in Atlanta with Jacko, the reporter, and the rest of it. Everybody knows about that. Then they've been caught doing other green screens, claiming their own location in places like Newtown, Connecticut.
Now, they keep showing this clip from Saudi Arabia that was filmed in the early 90s, and honestly, I didn't get it at first. I was like, what on earth are they trying to show here? And then it clicked. They're talking about the blue bit of wall behind these people. They're basically saying that this is meant to be keyed out and meant to be shown, I don't know, explosions or something, but someone just forgot it. In reality, it was the colour of the building behind them. Next, Wolfgang, or whatever the hell his name is, starts talking about how the school was a toxic waste dump.
Well, I think because, you know, people forget. On the headlines in the Hartford Courant, they showed where Sandy Hook was loaded with toxic. It was a toxic waste dump. Alex, it's a toxic waste dump. Who would send their children to that kind of school? And that school, based on the photographs by the crime scene technicians from the Connecticut State Police, it is the filthiest, the most deplorable school that I, as a principal, have ever seen.
Sure, it was only used as a cutout. It had been closed until right before they reopened it for this event.
Yeah, there is absolutely nothing to back this up whatsoever. Presumably, when he's talking about the pictures, he's talking about the pictures after the people have been investigating it, and after they've moved all the contents of the classrooms into the hallway. We have pictures before and after, and presumably he knows this. He is just lying, straight up, flat out lying to you here. As for the toxic dump, I believe he's talking about asbestos, a material that conspiracy theorists love to bring up and think that it's the end of the world. Honestly, you'd be surprised how many times this material is an integral part to a conspiracy theory. The thing is, asbestos can be removed. I don't understand it. People don't realize that you can remove it from buildings. But they keep talking about the demolition of the school and how this is evidence of, I don't know, them getting rid of evidence. There's something nefarious going on here. They never really quite say what they believe or how this is proof of anything. The reason why the school got demolished is actually really boring. The state of Connecticut offered Newtown just shy of $50 million to either revamp the school or to rebuild it. Turns out the cost of making the necessary repairs as well as making the school up to code would have cost a lot of money, more than actually rebuilding a school from scratch again. So they voted on it, they decided to rebuild it. But as I said, this is always just going to somehow feed into a conspiracy. I don't know how it does or why. After watching hours and hours of videos, these people say nothing more than, oh, they're trying to hide the evidence. But this school was up for a while before it was demolished. It's just lazy. It's so lazy. This conspiracy and the type of people who spread this vile bullshit has even become too much for Alex I'm sick of them putting stuff in the water to turn the frogs gay Jones. In recent years, he has tried to distance himself from the conspiracy, even though he's just said in the past that, hey, it's all lies, it's all lies.
The parents, one after the other, devastated. The dead bodies that the coroner autopsy.
And they've blocked all that, and they won't release any of it. That's unprecedented.
All of the parents decided to come out and lie about their dead children.
I didn't say that.
What happened to the children?
I will sit there on the air and look at every position and play devil's advocate.
Was that devil's advocate? The whole thing is a giant hoax. The whole thing was fake.
If you have the stomach for it, I'd recommend watching the full video of this pathetic tragedy capitalizer squirming as he's been asked some very basic questions.
When you say parents faked their children's death, people get very angry.
Yeah, well, I know, but they don't get angry about the 500,000 dead Iraqis from the sanctions, or they don't get angry about all the illegals pouring in. No, it's not a dodge.
In all honesty, I'm not really sure how to end this video. I've been working on it for weeks, and even after the hours, no, like I said, the days of time I've spent researching this, I feel that it's really light on the ground. And the reason for that is that these people have nothing. I've went after the most compelling evidence that I believe they brought forward of some kind of massive conspiracy. And you could just get to the bottom of them all with a quick Google search. You don't need any formal education, you don't need to hunt, you don't need to contact people. They're all Googleable. These people are pathetic. They want to believe this vile conspiracy theory because they want to believe it. They want to be special. And you know what? They're not. Most of them are parasites, capitalizing on tragedy. The others are just pathetic losers who obviously aren't getting the attention they think they deserve in real life. F*** these people. They want to believe it because they want to believe it. They haven't been tricked into it like so many other conspiracy theorists. They want to believe it, and it is disgusting. Now before I go, I'd like to give a massive thank you to the Crisis Actors Guild website, and also a shout out. Honestly guys, you should check this website out. Now this video was based on just a handful of their blog posts debunking the Sandy Hook conspiracy hoax or what have you, and without their ludicrously detailed blog posts, this video wouldn't be as in-depth as it is. So big thank you. Honestly, check out their website. It is absolutely fantastic, top notch. Can't recommend it enough. And I would also like to thank the people who've been supporting me on Patreon. It took a bit of time, but the adpocalypse has finally hit me, and it's hit me pretty hard. So you guys are pretty awesome, and I just want to say thank you. Right, so I'm going to go. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, or enjoyed is definitely the wrong word to use here. Hopefully you found this video useful, and if you did, maybe think about giving it a like or a share, or whatever you want to do. Just do whatever you want to do. I'm gonna go because I feel exhausted because this video took a hell of a long time to put together. Anyway, that's it. I'm gonna go. So goodbye internet, and I'll see you when I see you next.